Greetings and long vacations, everyone. It's Invisible Walls, episode 114, kicking off the summer in the right way. We're ready to put E3 2010 in our rearview mirror, but not before we talk to you guys all about our Best of E3 awards. Definitely been some vigor on the boards over those. We'll discuss some of the more controversial picks from our awards. We also have some really cool games on the show, some that we can't quite understand until somebody like Justin explains them to us. We have the whole crew on the show today. Literally, the room is completely full. I don't even know if I should go on the roll call. Maybe I should say who isn't here versus who is here.
Just give us all like barcode numbers or something. It's the future.
Yeah. Ryan Stevens, barcode number PZD015.
That seems pretty random.
Justin Spears on the show.
Hello.
Miguel Lopez.
Hello.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Yo.
Mike Damiani.
Hey.
And Brooks is hiding down at the end of the table.
Yeah, I was afraid you weren't going to see me again. I'm here. Rest assured.
Patrick Morales is on the squad today,
Howdy do.
as is Rich Brown.
Number 10.
And me, your humble guest and host, Shane Satterfield. Let's do it. All right, first we're going to talk about a game that I'm 100% certain you could not have missed at this point. They put out a new piece of media for this game every day for what seems like the last month, and that game is Naughty Bear. Kind of an odd name for a game. Justin, what does that mean?
It's kind of an odd game, but it's not really so hard to understand. It's basically it's kind of a stealth game, but it relies
A stealth
heavily
game.
A little bit, but the stealth is super easy. Like, anytime you're in the woods, no one can see you. You'll be like 2 inches away from him. He holds a leaf in front of his face.
Wait.
And you can
Let's
basically walk around.
rewind here.
It's a bear. Okay, yeah, let's back up a
Why
little
is the
bit.
bear angry?
Or naughty.
They have a few scenarios, and you're just like, he didn't get invited to a birthday party, or
That would kind of
they want to elect a mayor that will murder him, or he's kind of an undesirable resident, I guess, because he's misunderstood and he wants to kill everybody.
Is that really what the
Or maybe
object
he's not
is, to kill
misunderstood.
everyone? The bear kills everyone in the game?
It's not really a story so much. And in the loading screens are like, yeah, he has a voice in his head. It's this British guy that tells him to kill people. And so the narrator just sets things up and,
Now, is it a real bear or is it a stuffed bear?
Well, they're all teddy bears, but,
So
they
you're killing
live.
teddy bears, you're not killing other human beings?
No,
or
they
human
have
beings.
stuffing for viscera, so yeah.
Is this an M-rated game?
It's rated teen, actually, so.
And don't you drive bears to the point of suicide if you harass them enough?
Yeah, and the first time you do that, it's really awesome. But it gets a little, old. But I guess I'm not really explaining what the game is. It's kind of like, the AI, simple AI interactions from The Sims, where you can, make people upset. They see things they don't like, and so whether you're scaring them directly by hitting the left trigger and yelling in their face, or if they come across a dead body, they get a little freaked out. You can break their toys and mess up their stuff. That makes them upset. If they see someone that's insane walking around, they're like, what's going on? So
Have you played a game that's more bizarre than this one in the last 2 years?
It's not as bizarre as it seems. They have the gameplay is like totally AI driven, and it's kind of simple stealth gameplay and kills, and they're really just kind of dressing up that concept with a weird bear. They needed an angle for this because it's kind of
found one.
it's kind of a simple it's really a kind of simple game concept, but it's cool what they do with the AI, but it's unfortunately limited in a lot of ways. Like there's one real level that's broken up into a few areas, and you're kind of endlessly repeating this level with different scenarios, like birthday party, or
You mean throughout the whole game?
yeah, the whole game is kind of a strong statement. They have DLC planned for the future. I'm really hoping that would include another kind of map. It's a really cool concept, but
Or
it's,
bears stuffed with blood?
yeah, I mean there are some cool kills, stuff like that. You'll definitely get a few laughs out of the game. If
What about the fuzz, the police that come and get you?
Yeah,
Because those guys are polar bears, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Was his name Cuppy Cake or
I don't think they're.
Cupcakes?
they're white. I mean, they're still teddy bears. So
Oh.
they behave, just more bodies to kill and mutilate.
You get
People
guns
driving
too,
insane.
right?
Yeah, they have guns. It's really, kind of basic third-person shooting.
They were
Well,
attacking
the
him
cops,
with
the cops
lasers
bring
today.
guns.
Do they have mana and swords?
I haven't seen
Action
any.
figures.
You had
swords
like
or
a
mana
knife,
yet.
right? They had like a big butcher knife.
It was like like a
I
machine.
mean, there's a lot of weapons. They each have kills. If you freak out a guy enough or you damage them enough, then you can do like an ultra kill. They call it. It's
What did you say before?
Some
The
pretty
game isn't
violent
as
stuff.
weird as it sounds.
well, I mean, really, it's a simple stealth game with kind of like a Sims level of AI where people get upset about things they see, and you're trying to constantly have chaos things. It'll be like, Pibbles notices, a dead body. So and so is getting killed when you're killing him, slamming their head in the car door. Yeah, or they'll try to escape by getting in cars or boats and getting off Bear Island. So you kind of get these updates of what the AI is doing. Some of the boss bears will give an order, like they'll try to barricade everyone inside, or they'll send people out to try to hunt you down. So I mean, some cool stuff with AI, but really it's not that. I mean, it's weird. It's strange.
We've established
It's not
that.
normal, but I mean, they're really they've got this concept to kind of dress up their really AI based gameplay. So.
The game actually, I haven't played it. I watched Justin play a little of it. It actually kind of reminds me of an old game, Spy vs. Spy from Mad Magazine. I don't know if anyone played it on the NES or the Commodore 64 back in the day.
I
But
played it.
You'd walk. I mean, there's only two characters as opposed to all the bears here. But you'd go around and you'd hide traps and basically just try to mess with people. You could always punch people in the face, but it was always better to set up traps and stuff. Because I see you sabotage things and stuff like that.
Yeah, the reason you'll sabotage things, they'll get upset when they see it, so that'll help to get your combo multiplier going. It's all it's a simple game. It's all about score. It's all about fucking with the AI and making everyone upset, and then you get a huge score.
Now, is
So
it
that's really
strange enough to make it worth playing?
I'd say it's worth playing, but it's priced at $50, and for the game, it's a really limited game in a lot of ways. It's not a bad game, but I can see people actually getting upset if they paid $50 for this, and there's basically one level
Upset enough
without
to
more
kill.
DLC. The multiplayer so far is really not working for me. I'm having all kinds of
How does that
issues
work?
getting a game started. It's really simple, team-based, assault. It's kill the other guy's unicorn statue. There's one mode which I haven't been able to play where there's one bad guy who is what do they call it? I can't remember the name of the main bear. Does anyone else remember? He's a real dick though, and he kills people. So yeah, he's trying to stop the three other bears from putting jellies in a magical jelly machine and then activating the jelly machine.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Not the jelly
Without these,
machine.
it's just really simple objective-based, multiplayer. One of them is Golden Uzi, and you find the Golden Uzi and kill people. I guess it's like Golden Gun from GoldenEye. But tiny levels, it doesn't really, doesn't work too well.
Worth renting or picking up on GameFly?
I'd say it's worth renting. I mean, you'll laugh at the things you see the first time you do it. It's pretty cool. Their concept is good. I mean, the AI is actually pretty cool. You wish that other characters in other games would kind of react to things that they see. It's cool to see it, but yeah, it's super limited. So don't expect to get a lot of. Without more DLC in the future, you'll be, few hours in, you'll be like, "Where's the rest of my game?"
Were you invited, Naughty? Oh dear, poor Naughty.
All right, next we're going to talk about our Best of E3 awards. In all honesty, I think the feedback on them has been probably the best we've had in recent memory. Not too many categories that really angered a lot of people or made people raise an eyebrow. Certainly, the biggest debate has been over the Best Graphics Award, which we gave to Kirby's Epic Yarn, which I think is fully deserving. But we should probably explain how, I saw a lot of, well, why, on a SD system, how can that win over an HD system? We don't really care what goes into making a game look the way it does. All we care about is the end result. What is displayed on the TV screen? I could care less how many shaders, polygons, whatever it is that it takes.
God beams.
Yeah.
Spin sprites.
All that stuff's irrelevant. It doesn't matter what it takes or how many machines it takes or how many gigaflops or whatever, or how much RAM the machine has. All that matters is what ultimately shows up on the screen. And in our opinion, Kirby was the best looking game at the show.
Well, Rage does have mega textures. Though.
That's right.
Mega
yeah.
So you didn't mention mega textures. So
Yeah, I think we did mention mega textures in the video actually, but that's really what it comes down to. We don't take into account what system it's on or what it took to get those visuals on the screen. All that really matters is the end result. I think I saw one analogy. It was a painting. Like when you look at paintings or art, do you care whether they use watercolors or they use oils or?
I care about canvas size. If it's like
That canvas is low resolution.
Yeah, does it matter whether they used an airbrush to do the? It doesn't
if
matter.
if it's acrylics, they should lose points. You know, like oil painting should be.
sorry. Go ahead.
I guess in a lot of people's heads, maybe best graphics equals most realistic, which isn't always the case, you know?
That's never the case.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at Kirby's Epic Yarn, a lot of people discount art direction, which, you know, is a really important factor of graphics, and that had a really striking presentation.
I don't think it's that they discount it. I think that it's that they're like, I paid $500 for my frickin' machine, and I paid for all this kit inside it, and look at what it's doing technically compared to what Kirby may be doing. Nobody knows what they did to make Kirby's graphics. Maybe they're doing some crazy trick that none of us know about to make it look that good. That's why it's irrelevant how the visuals get there. That's why it's all about the end product.
And some people were asking us to split it into art design and tech. But if we gave a technical award, then we would just be looking at, you know, send us your fact sheet. Oh, your GPU is pushing 22, NURBS. Okay, you're the winner.
It's like reviewing a game.
I wear glasses.
What about if when we reviewed games, we were like, oh, well, that team had 400 people working on it. This game had 20 people working on it. Well, the game with the
Shane.
400 people must be better.
Don't give away our algorithm.
I mean, seriously. I mean, what it really comes down to is, sadly, fanboyism. People feeling slighted because they feel their console is more powerful and it didn't win. The bottom line is we felt Kirby was the best-looking game at the show, and that's pretty much all it comes down to.
Yeah, I heard some interesting arguments why like Limbo and Scott Pilgrim weren't nominated, and I would say Limbo looks really good and distinct, but it still doesn't wow me in any sense. And I think the reason Scott Pilgrim didn't make the list is I know they could do more. Like, I've seen that guy's...
I don't think Scott Pilgrim looks all that great or appealing to begin with, personally.
Well, no, personally, but I mean, this is also an insanely subjective category because it isn't technical.
Right, it's art.
For me, Scott Pilgrim is. I know Patrick may disagree a little bit. It's actually a little disappointing to me after watching Pirate Baby Cabana and stuff that this is crazy, but it's not like batshit motherfucking crazy.
And
I
truth
agree.
be told, Limbo was one of those games that was right on the cusp of making it. And truth be told, Killzone 3 does look amazing. All the other games that were nominees deserve to be nominees. Those games look great, but ultimately, and I think I've seen some GIFs on the interwebs that kind of show off that a lot of those games do look alike. And granted, technically they're amazing. They look incredibly realistic. But when we started really sorting through those nominees, we were like, well, how do we pick a winner between all those military shooters? And then we had Kirby sitting there, and we're like, the winner was obvious, we felt. So I think that category was probably the one that raised the most ire, but I also think that, I think we had a reasonable excuse for why we picked Kirby. The other one, I guess, is biggest surprise. A lot of people are saying Gabe Newell at the PlayStation press conference maybe should have won that.
Yeah, it does start to make sense now. How Valve has canceled a couple things you guys may know about and a couple things you may not know about, and then it all the puzzle pieces fit. But it was still pretty damn surprising, and it made the list.
Well, it was surprising, but honestly, I think I remember having to fight for that to be a nominee. I think that was one of the ones that was on the cusp of getting dropped out of our nominations list altogether. Because some people were saying, oh, it's not that big a deal, but it is a big deal after all the smack that he talked about Sony. But at the same time, I mean, the 3DS is mind-blowing. I mean, let's face it. I've not seen 3D work without 3D glasses that looks that good, and it's a handheld. So, I mean, if you think about that moment when we saw Gabe, yeah, sure, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Gabe Newell at Sony's press conference. They were burying the hatchet. Comparing that to the first moment I turned on the 3DS and saw that 3D working, to me there was no comparison. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I knew everything about the 3DS, a day or two before I actually got to check it out. And still, that moment when I got to sit down and try it out for myself, it totally turned all the lights on for me.
I think the other problem, too, is that the people who are watching these awards have not seen the 3DS in action.
Yeah.
So to them, maybe that is right. Gabe Newell probably was the biggest surprise to them because they haven't seen the 3DS working.
And they saw Gabe in action. I mean, again, I'm going to state for the 1000th time, I can't see 3D. And I was just impressed because it was new hardware. I thought they were going to just dump this tech on an old DS. And the fact that we got the Kinect and the Move, and you could argue those are some sort of upgrades, but the DS has now entered, it beat PSP2 to the market. And I find that highly, 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 highly surprising. And it looks really great.
It didn't need to beat the PSP to the market. In all honesty, Sony probably should have shown its new handheld. It's really the one who sort of backed into the corner and really needs to show something new. So Nintendo just continues to be disruptive and continues to leapfrog the other guys. It wasn't that way for a long time, but it certainly is that way now. I guess another category that got some controversy was best first-person shooter, and I think this is a sign of the times. People are saying maybe Ghost Recon Future Soldier should not have been in that category because it is a hybrid of third-person and first-person. But the only time you're in third-person is when you take cover, and we still felt like the majority of the time you play that game, you're going to be shooting in a first-person perspective. We're not 100% certain about that, of course. We're just basing that on past entries in the series. We would assume that they would make a big deal about it going third person if that's really what they wanted to do. So we did make a bit of an assumption there, a leap in logic, if you will, in putting that in first person shooter. The other one is most innovative. No one complains about the winner, I don't think. I think everyone agrees that 3DS should win that. But some people were a little upset. What was the problem, Bloodworth?
Oh, the Kinect became a nominee, but we didn't make Move a nominee.
Yeah. Well, I think we can explain that, right?
Yeah. Well, to me, it was the it's the degree to how well Kinect's being used. It's like the Move. It's basically an alternate controller. It's basically doing the same thing that the Wii Remote does. Maybe a little better, maybe not. We'll see. But Kinect really is doing something different, and it has all that stuff combined. And they've taken the time to integrate it to make the full console Kinect compatible.
Full body tracking, too, is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Of course, the flip side of that is you have to get up to use it. You can't sit on the couch and use it. So that's sort of the downside of that. But, I mean, it is innovative in that it does the full body tracking. It does sort of give you that new Minority Report type interface, which I'm not particularly a fan of. I think I'd rather use a D-pad and a button. But a lot of people seem to be really enraptured by the idea of navigating things with their voice and with their hands. So that was, and granted, it barely made the list.
Right.
It's not like it was like in second place and we were arguing over whether it should win or not. Like, it literally just kind of barely slid in there.
It made it to most disappointing, though.
It did. But purely because, in all honesty, there really wasn't a whole lot of innovation at E3 this year. I mean, that's kind of the disappointing part of the show. You look back, it was just a ton of sequels. Like, it was hard to pick nominees for best new IP. We started looking down the list of every game at the show, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is kind of sad. Like, where did all the new ideas go?
Yeah, that's actually something that I forgot to mention when a couple of shows back when we were talking about the things, the dogs of E3. Lots of sequels. It wasn't that long ago, when we had, oh wow, Assassin's Creed, that's pretty cool. Mirror's Edge, that's cool. Dead Space, that's cool. Now, no, not so much. It's like twos and
risk
threes.
aversion has kind of gotten out of hand at this point, in all honesty.
Well, new IP is still, Devil's Third from Itagaki
Right.
is an inspired work.
Yeah.
I think would be safe to say. And as much as I think Child of Eden's cool, spiritual successor is just a hair's width away from being a sequel for Rez. And I love Rez and everything, but
Yeah.
it is close.
It's Rez too. Let's face it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the pickings were pretty slim for new IP overall. So it's industry just keeps grinding in that direction. It's just risk aversion. Everyone's afraid to go out on a limb, which is sad because you saw EA go out on a limb with the first Dead Space, and here we are with Dead Space 2. So
Well, I think it's also a sign of the economy / where those games are in their product cycle.
Right. I think it's a cyclical thing. I wouldn't be surprised if next E3 we saw the new stuff that we didn't see this year.
Yeah.
I hope so. Because it was pretty dry on new ideas, in all honesty. So the most innovative category was a lean one. It was hard to find things that were innovative at the show. And then I guess we'll move on to our game of the show. If you guys have not watched it already on the site, maybe you should pause this, open up a new tab, and watch our game of the show video before we completely ruin it for you. And the game we chose as the game of the show is Rage. I remember when we were picking these awards, I was like, man, I wonder if we're going to be the only people who picks Rage, for anything. And as it turns out, no. Like, everybody felt the same way about the game that we did, it looks like. So, Portal 2, I guess, was probably second runner-up there. So, from my personal perspective, I think why Rage was the best game of the show is we're already starting to see all these genres blend. We just talked about Ghost Recon, how it's hard to tell whether it's a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter. That's really the way the industry's gone. We talked in the awards about how everything has RPG elements now, and everything's about leveling stuff up and getting to a new level and getting new powers. Rage is one of those games that really blends everything together. Outwardly, it looks like a shooter mixed with a racing game, but when you really start getting into playing the game, there's all kinds of little intricacies. There's this little town that you go to, everything's alive. People are playing crazy dice games. It's just a very convincing universe. They've spent a lot of time on AI, which is something I've wished that video games would have spent more processing power on for a long time now, making enemies behave more believably versus the duck, stand up, run away that we pretty much get now. The way that enemies navigate the environment in that game is freaking awesome, and they do it different every time. It's not the same patterns that they repeat over and over. I just felt like that game is sort of a harbinger of what we're going to see from a lot of other games going forward, and it's also incredibly polished and incredibly fun. The racing is deep. You build your own vehicles. It was just, to me, it was one of the first really good games I saw at E3 Judges Week, and when I saw it, I was like, damn, that's pretty awesome. But I just assumed that, by the time the show was over, there would be something that would just destroy it or blow it away. And once the dust settled, I looked around and I was like, no, Rage was still the best game that I saw. So it was a close race between that and Portal. So Portal 2 is like, it's like Portal, but when you play cooperatively, it's literally, I think I told Ryan after I walked out of that demo that it melted my brain. Like, I had somebody there helping me go through the thing and telling me what to do, and just him telling me what I was supposed to do was like twisting me up. I was like, dude, how is someone going to be able to solve this on their own? He said they've gone through crazy extensive focus testing. He said that there's been some puzzle rooms where they'd put 2 people in there and they would work on it for 3 hours and they'd give up. And that was some of the stuff that was the first couple hours into the game. So he said the testing for that game has just been brutal.
So is the co-op a campaign or just kind of going through rooms?
It's pretty much, it's a lot like Portal 1. You go into a room, you have like the elements you need to solve to get out, and then on your way out, Gladys says something quirky to you, you get in an elevator, and you go to the next room. That's pretty much how it worked.
But the rooms need 2 people to be solved, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You could never do it on your own. It's definitely tandem. And like he started showing me some levels later on, and just as soon as I walked in the room, I was just like, forget it. Like, people are going to have to go to fat game facts and cheat sites to try to figure out how to get through.
You mean wiki cheats?
Yeah. People are going to have to go to people are going to have to go to wikicheats.com to figure out how to get through some of those rooms. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that's why he was there to drive you, because I think if there wasn't someone there to help you that was from Valve, you would have never got through anything, and you probably would have thought it sucked. So,
will there be AI co-op guys from Valve? Like, will Gabe Newell come in and show you the way?
They didn't show anything as far. All they showed was the 2 people working together. So, and trust me, that's plenty.
Yeah.
If you throw a third person into the mix and you have to figure out how to navigate 3 people around that to get through those rooms, I think it'd be impossible. So, it's that was another game that really impressed me. But it's also a very narrowly focused game, and I think that's why Rage got the nod over top of it.
What was the temptation in Portal 2 to not mess with the other person in the room? Because I know I'd just be putting holes underneath him and up top and just having him fall through and messing with him the whole time.
Well, you could do it, but you're never going to solve the room if you do that, so there's really no point to it. I mean, I'm sure people have watched that trailer where they show off sort of all the new elements that are going to be in the game, and even if you just watch that and you see how they automatically solve the room very quickly, but you start thinking about what it took to come to the deduction that that's what you needed to do, it's insane. So,
yeah. Well, I just remember on the first Portal, once I got done with the game and I started doing the speed runs, and it was like, do this in 6 seconds or whatever. I'm like, what? And then you figure it out.
Somehow, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll be happening with this one, man. It's going to be tough, definitely.
So, Patrick, will 2011 be Year of the Fighter?
Unfortunately, not this year, no.
Yeah, talk about a lean pickings. The fighting genre is probably the lean... Well, except for strategy, which we had to completely cut from the awards this year.
If only Civilization 5 had been playable.
Yeah, we never got to play Civ 5, unfortunately, so... We had to cut strategy from the awards, although definitely best strategy game on the show was Civ 5, hands down, no doubt about that. And we saw a really awesome demo of it at Judges Week, but we were not allowed to play it. But fighting games, oh man,
Yeah, super slim pickings. Although I'm not disappointed with the winner, Mortal Kombat. Some people may be surprised to see that because they're thinking, oh, Marvel 3, that's the best one.
Yeah.
But after seeing a demo of Mortal Kombat, it looks like the real deal. It's a pretty legit fighting game now.
It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
I had a ton of fun with that game.
Yeah, you played it hands-on, right?
Mhm.
And you found it pretty easy to kind of pick up even after, it's been out of action for a while.
Yeah, and they had nerfed the fatality, so you just had to hit down, circle to do a fatality, and it didn't matter which one it was always the same. So they allowed you to really check out the fatalities if you wanted to. The fatalities are awesome. I don't know what they've been doing for the last how many years, where all the fatalities basically sucked ass, but the fatalities in this game are crazy creative, really awesome. Totally go back to the sort of origin of the series. They showed a fatality montage that was just disturbing on many different levels. But I don't know if they're going to release that thanks to our friends at the ESRB. But would love to show that to everybody. But yeah, Mortal Kombat was awesome. And I don't know if it's because I played so much of it in the arcade back in the day or what it is. It's got a little bit of that NBA Jam thing going on. But I just enjoyed the hell out of playing it.
I think a lot of people give that series a certain stigma of being like a button masher, kind of very
Jungle happy.
Yeah, not very that involved at all. But after seeing the presentation and having them explain it to us, they have actual tournament players in the fighting game scene on the staff, and that they're paying attention to a lot of how fighting games work now. It looks like a really deep fighter that's also accessible at the same time. And I just can't wait to play it personally. After playing Marvel 3 and watching Mortal Kombat, I think I'd rather play, or try out Mortal Kombat right now.
Let's get this over with.
Now, before we close the book on E3 2010, let's just go around the horn real quick. And let's talk about a game where your interest level in that game went from whatever to just through the roof thanks to E3 2010. Ryan.
Pass. Through the roof. I may be a little too curmudgeon-y for that. Seeing the Rage demo live was pretty impressive. I'm not a big Sonic fan, but Sonic Colors actually looks good, which
pick.
was pretty surprising to me.
Yeah.
Considering the travesty that series has taken for a while. And man, that's really about it. I wasn't really on the show floor all that much. I was kind of running around and doing a lot of stuff. Zelda was a little disappointing, but still have a soft spot in my heart for it.
I think Sonic Colors was a good pick.
Yeah.
Justin?
I don't know. All I really have is obvious stuff. We just got through talking about Mortal Kombat. I was also a big fan. 3DS really looks cool. So yeah, nothing interesting, but
Miguel?
yeah.
I would say Last Guardian. No, it would actually be Metroid Other M. I've been really skeptical about that game just because I think it takes the series and it takes the series places where it doesn't really need to go.
Anime
story.
cutscenes.
Exactly, yeah, all of this sort of overbearing narrative. But I don't know if what they showed at the show was kind of indicative of what the minute-to-minute game is going to be like, then that stuff's cool. I could ignore it like I did the stuff in Metroid Prime 3, like all the retarded superhero bounty hunter guys.
Bloodworth.
Yeah, I think the two things that I liked the most that I saw were Deus Ex and Spec Ops. Definitely, they're both doing.
Spec Ops is a good pick.
Yeah,
it was a game I had pretty low expectations for, and now after E3, I'm like, that's one of the hot games on the horizon.
Yeah, they're both doing pretty cool things with story there.
I'd agree. Brooks Huber.
Yeah, I was running all over the show, and I only had a chance to go by Nintendo for a minute, and I never had a chance to pick up the 3DS, so of all these picks, I think I'm most interested in getting my hands on that and seeing how that really functions. And then outside of that, I'm really excited about Assassin's Creed for whatever reason, because the way you were describing the online multiplayer just sounds awesome.
All right, Mike Damiani, have you said anything? Are you awake, dude?
Yeah, it's so
About
worn.
Mickey Mouse
So
right
Has
now.
he said anything?
You
since
think
the
I'm talking
intro?
about Mickey Mouse? No.
Whoa!
Ooh. I was at, Brooks kind of stole a
Why
little
is
bit
he
of my
wearing that
thunder
hat
with
then?
Assassin's Creed. I actually got into that series pretty late. I actually only played all the games this year. And when I heard about Brotherhood and I thought it was only multiplayer oriented, I kind of was like, yeah, meh. But after seeing what we saw at E3, just the concept of the versus mode, how you were explaining it to us how it's you don't know who's an assassin, and you gotta like act like the AI to like blend in. Like that sounds really awesome, and I would actually like to try that out whenever that's playable. I mean, obviously, 3DS. I was one of the people who just did not think that was gonna work at all, and it was amazing, and not just the 3D effect. The 3D effect is amazing, but just the graphic power on that machine. That I still think it's more powerful than Wii from what I saw, which is amazing. That's it. I mean, obviously Zelda kind of was like meh, expecting more. So maybe that was like the polar opposite. Like I was really expecting a lot, and it gave me the least satisfaction of the stuff that was there.
Patrick Morales.
Well, I've already expressed my interest in Mortal Kombat, so I'm going with that. But besides that, I'd also have to say Deus Ex Human Revolution had a pretty big showing for me, at least. It looks very cool.
It wasn't supposed to, though, right?
Yeah, well, not officially.
Yeah. I mean, technically, we weren't supposed to see that demo or that walkthrough.
Right, but...
Well, I was.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless, I think just from what I've been hearing about it, it looks really good. And also Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, I think the multiplayer could introduce some pretty interesting new ways to kind of take that, multiplayer mode aspect of the game.
Rich Brown.
Well, first was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, but after sitting through the Konami press conference, Metal Gear Solid Rising, the fact that they actually showed it being played, regardless if it was pre-recorded gameplay, just that they showed it in action, because I had no expectations for that game because I think Raiden's a bitch. But
well, you liked Afro Samurai though, so it's right up your alley. Right?
Yeah, it is. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid Rising definitely. I thought that was just. It wowed me right from the start because that's something that the series hasn't done, seeing as Raiden's still a bitch.
For me, my number one pick is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. That game, I really had no expectations for it at all. I really thought it was going to be multiplayer only. I didn't think it was even going to have a campaign. And so that is the one I would pick if I had to pick one. Because everybody has picked that game, I'm going to go sort of off the chain, as the kids say. Gears of War 3 for me. After Gears 2, I felt it was very, very similar to the first Gears, and I really didn't know what it would take for me to get interested and excited to play Gears of War 3. I thought the demo that they showed at the Microsoft press conference was freaking awesome. Like literally, it was just second by second something to take your mind off of the fact that you're playing a shooter. It just every moment mattered in that demo, and if they can really keep up that pace for the length of a full game, even if it's 8 or 10 hours. I think it'll be something special. Also, like the new art style of the game. I love the beast mode that I got to play, the new multiplayer element. So if I can't say Assassin's Creed for me, it's Gears of War 3.
Did we fry that bitch?
All right, now we're just going to run through some quick news stories that have hit over the last day or so. First of all, Hulu Plus on both the 360 and PS3. I had actually heard about this before E3. I expected it to be announced in the press conferences at the show. That did not happen, but here it is. And Ryan, what are the details on this?
Well, it's launching on the PS3 before the 360. I don't remember the exact date. It's 360 sometime in 2011. But the big thing is they're saying it's going to cost $10 and there'll still be ads.
Whoa.
And this includes your iPhone, which is cool. I feel like that may be a pay service worth having.
So wait, if you pay the subscription of $10, will that work across all the platforms you have?
No clue.
Or is it just per platform?
I don't know if it's just one login or not.
And it's $10 a month, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. For some people, maybe this will allow you to leave the tyranny of cable.
If you don't care about sports.
I don't. I also don't already have cable, so this would be an additional $10 for me.
Premium channels?
Yeah, do you get more than what you get in the normal Hulu right now?
No, they had a list of like what they're offering, but I didn't. I mean, there's been the big rumor that they're going to finally do a deal with HBO, but I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, I mean,
yet.
what's the plus? Just that it works on these other platforms now?
Yeah, which is hilarious because Hulu used to work on the PS3. And
right.
They
took it away.
They put in little browser check code to make sure that it wouldn't.
So what do you guys think?
If it has HBO, then I would totally ditch cable and use that.
I think it's ridiculous that you have to pay $10 for it when you can get it. If you have a computer, you can just hook up and go for free. Those shows are going to be free. Well, I need to know what you're getting for that $10 other than just simply access to it, because that's kind of a ripoff.
Exactly.
Well, I think the crap part of it is ads, right? If you pay
That
$10
too,
a
yeah.
month, you shouldn't get any ads.
Exactly.
Is there like a
That's
$20
exactly what I was
fee
gonna
that's
say.
going to be for like no ads? Is that like the next? like the gold membership?
It's not like the typical commercial cycle that you get in a TV show now. It'll probably be like one ad per commercial break.
It depends. It's limited. Like I watch Hulu all the time. I mean, you get limited commercials, like 2 or 3 commercial breaks, and then every now and then you get like watch this 2.5 minute ad, 2.5 to 3 minute ad, and then after you watch that, you can watch whatever you're going to watch ad free the rest of the way.
Yeah, truth be told, Hulu's been pretty innovative and on the cutting edge with how they handle ads online.
Right.
They give you flexibility, so you're not just locked into that 30-second pre-roll. You can decide to load them all at once and then watch your stuff ad free or do it however you want. So, ads suck. That's all there is to it. But you need them to survive. That's the bottom line. If you like the services that you get on the interwebs, then you're gonna have to deal with ads.
Right.
But when you're paying that subscription fee every month, you need to expect that at least you get less ads.
What I'm curious about is this Hulu Plus going to affect people just watching it on their laptops and desktops as well? Because this is all on the console side of things. Who knows how this is going to filter the other which ways? And
Ryan, you'd mentioned that on the iPod and the iPhone, it makes a little more sense. I think it's kind of brilliant, really, on the iPod.
I think that's a pretty for a pay service. That's not so bad for something like that, especially if you are a big commuter, if you travel a lot or something like that.
Or if they create a really sweet app for it, so you're not just using sort of their website. They give you something that sort of makes it easier to get to the content on a mobile device. I think that could be sweet. The other story, I don't know if I'd call it big or not, is that they announced Metro 2034. Did we need a sequel to this game?
Already?
I don't know that we did. It seemed fairly self-contained, but it's all based on a series of books, right? So there's another book afterwards, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that they're going to bring it out, because I don't think the first game did particularly well in the sales arena. I know it's like Steam sale was pretty brutal pretty early on, and I think even at retailers it's already dropped $20.
Hopefully the AI is another year smarter.
Yeah, it's really, they need to polish up the bugs and things like that, but they had a lot of great atmosphere, and I'm sure they're going to be reusing a lot of resources, so that'll give them time to maybe work on those weaknesses.
Did we need it?
Yeah.
A sequel to this game?
I don't know if we really needed it, but
I think we don't need a lot of things.
Does anybody want it?
I would definitely look forward to it if they can iron out some of that stuff. It was a really great game, other than those things that just totally tore it down.
And since we are in, I guess it's actually the beginning of summer technically, usually in the summertime, the game releases start slowing down. What do you guys see doing throughout the summer to make sure you keep your machines turned on?
I have no lack of games I haven't played
yet. Yeah, me
yet,
either.
so.
I have a backlog of stuff to get through, in all honesty.
Catching up, yeah.
I just got a new PC, so I'm going to be taking advantage of these cheap-ass Steam deals.
The Steam sales were insane. I think I bought 12 games this weekend, and I spent like 47 cents or something.
Whoa.
But Steam's servers were nailed. I was trying to download some Russian game called Cryostasis for like 14 shekels, and it took forever just to even initiate the download.
Wow.
But I bought a ton of games seriously, I bought like a ton of games for like $1.25 and $3. These day-to-day sales are great, and the big pack sales are fantastic. It's a good time to do your back catalog on a PC if you don't care about your achievement penis score.
I didn't see the price, but Infamous I think just went up for download on PSN too.
Really?
Yeah, and there's a lot of sales on Xbox Live Arcade. PB Winterbottom went on sale, and I saw earlier Geometry Wars 2, so look for those too.
Winterbottom's a pretty good game. I finished that on Steam a couple weeks ago. A little short, I think like 2 hours, but pretty fun.
Worth the 400 points then, I'd say.
Yeah.
Does Good Old Games have a sale going on?
What?
GOG.
Probably. A lot of times those sales are the Steam sale's insane, but a lot of those sales are mirrored everywhere. But I know, Brooks, you just put together the Games of July, and it's pretty much Crackdown and StarCraft 2.
Yeah,
for July
11.
Like I said, it's pretty much Crackdown 2 and StarCraft. I think Marcus's Arc-Raise Fantasia, something.
That game is like coming out every month. I don't know when it's going to come out.
Wow.
Poor July. Subject to change.
This would be a great time for everyone to play Demon Souls. Just saying.
Sorry, I just beat Super Mario Galaxy 2 over the weekend, so yeah, I think Demon Souls could be next.
Anything you can pick up and throw can be used as a weapon.
All right, it's with a tear in the eye that we bid farewell to E3 2010. Not true.
A tear in the butt.
Later, bitch. This is the final episode where we'll talk about E3. Next week, we'll be moving on to summer games and a bunch of other fun stuff. Thank you for taking the ride with us through E3 2010. I think we can all say it was fun at certain points. I think we got to check out a lot of good games. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening to Invisible Walls. We appreciate you guys very much. We'll see you next week. We are up and we are out.